takes place. Let's now shift to trade, though, and the European Commission has confirmed receiving a document from the United States containing proposed language for finalising their joint statement on trade and tariffs. Commission spokesperson Olaf Gill said the US suggestions aim to bring the political agreement closer to completion. Olaf Gill, European Commission spokesperson for economic security, trade and financial services, said both sides will continue to ping-pong the texts back and forth at technical and political levels until a final version is agreed, but gave no timeline for that completion. The EU and US reached a framework trade deal in late July after President Donald Trump and Commission President Ursula von der Leyen shook hands on the accord at Trump's Scottish Golf Club. So far, only the baseline tariff of 15% has been enacted. Key elements, including a promised cut in US car tariffs from 27.5% to 15%, have yet to take effect. Tariffs on 50% on steel and aluminium also remain in place. The joint statement, expected to run only a few pages, will serve as a political roadmap for further trade negotiations and not a legally binding agreement. Tariffs on pharmaceuticals and semiconductors remain at zero, although Washington is probing whether new duties capped at 15% should be applied. Well, joining us to discuss all of these updates is John Rossimondo, the president of Viking Research Associates, who joins us live from Washington, D.C. John, as always, it is a pleasure to have you on the programme. I want to briefly just look more broadly here. Of course, so many of these trade deals being reached between the US and other nations, the signalling the significance of that moment where two leaders, in this case Ursula von der Leyen and Donald Trump, come to an agreement. But this is more of an insight into the reality and the workings of the deal. Is there still a lot of work to be done from the US on deals that are in effect done, but in reality potentially still with several bits to detail and outline?
President Trump has made tariffs the hallmark of his presidency, trying to get other countries to reduce their tariffs, in this case the European Union. I'm hopeful that some of the remaining elements can be worked out to allow the sale of more American goods in the European market, which has been closed off to U.S. manufacturers.
Yes, and John, let's now look at this deal between the US and the EU. Of course, key trading areas that are still hit with higher than 15% tariffs, steel and aluminium, one of them, and also cars. We know a lot of European cars are exported. How significant are these deals on items that have already received higher rates of tariff for the US consumer?
Well, in terms of U.S. consumers, I think President Trump's effort is to get Americans to buy more American-made products. I think a lot of manufacturers from Europe and elsewhere have onshored here in the U.S. to get around these tariffs. So I think that the impacts will be marginal. But I also think that it's a good thing to see the Europeans agreeing to reduce their tariffs.
Yes, and John, to end this discussion, of course, no timeline given, but a consensus that this is moving forward. Do you think this is a win for Donald Trump, that a deal of 15% has been struck with the EU?
Well, absolutely. It just shows that President Trump is a master negotiator. He always raises the bar to something that the other side would consider absurd, and then.
Yes, absolutely, John. You will be staying with us as we move away from trade now. When we